Hope shares the stories of activists who say the pandemic has taken a toll on their mental health and the mental health of those fighting for social justice.
Community activists lead protests and rallies for social change, but say 2020 hit differently. Faced with the challenge of COVID-19 on top of everything else, many who are expected to be strong say they felt isolated, overwhelmed, and anxious.
The world doesn't see, I don't think, like the manic side of it, like where you're in your head, your mind's moving like 1,000 minutes per second, you know? It's just constantly going.
When you're out there on the streets, you don't feel protected.
We're living in a time in our country where a fellow citizen might kill you.
Following the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, activists across the country mobilized movements.
We speak power and strength and courage upon your name.
From Louisville to Minneapolis and even in San Diego, community leaders say they felt the pressure.
And really feeling the pain and the weight of two pandemics.
Arameek Glass Blake leads Generation Justice.
Has been difficult, on everyone, not just mentally, but emotionally draining and also financially draining, which all contributes to your mental health.
59% of adults say they're taking action against racial justice, but the grueling work of activism takes a toll.
Here's the problem with trying to change broken, oppressive systems. You're out in the trenches.
You don't really see the impact that it's having on your body.
We always have to appear strong. We have to look strong. We have to be strong. Don't cry, because girl, if you cry, you're going to look weak.
Activist Tasha Williamson says it's easy to lose yourself in this kind of work, and Black activists seeking therapy can have a stigma attached to them.
What goes on in the home stays in the home was how many of us were raised, because that's how our parents were raised and our grandparents were raised.
Advocates often find talking out the problem can be a challenge when they're typically the ones people turn to for help.
Because it's too difficult to just stack and keep stacking. Eventually, you're going to be the one who has a breakdown, and then you'll be calling somebody.
And it does cause anxiety. It causes PTSD. It causes depression.
When I get home, it's even worse because I'm not actively out doing anything.
Activists in 2020 have expressed increased isolation.
It can be a very lonely place to be an activist.
What are ways activists cope in a pandemic?
For me, it's writing. I'm a writer.
I have a creek in my backyard, and I'm just going to go sit by the creek and just listen to the water.
But self-care, I think, is so extremely important. So we have to step back, take care of ourselves, because you cannot pour into somebody else if you're empty.
While traveling to meet with George Floyd's family in Minnesota, Reverend Shane Harris came down with coronavirus.
Look at me, I'm a survivor of COVID-19. While I had to survive standing up for people who felt like their voices weren't heard.
For some, going it alone as activists comes with risks and rewards. Heather Hope, News 8.
If you or someone you know is struggling, we have a guide to mental health services in San Diego posted under the Help button.